This video is the first in the series for the Korg M3 Music Workstation, and in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the M3's capabilities and also a little bit about some of the differences between other Korg workstations and other workstations from other manufacturers. Some of the main features of the Korg M3 is its color touch screen. You don't see this on a lot of other workstations. Korg did introduce the Korg Oasis, which is a very expensive high-end workstation that does have the color touch screen, but until now we have the monochromatic screens from the Trinity series and the Triton series. So this of course is an extreme upgrade. Also, this workstation has the Karma feature built in. Before this we had the Karma feature only in the Korg Oasis, which again is a very high-end workstation, so a lot of people in the $2,000 and $3,000 range weren't getting use of that unless they purchased the Karma workstation, which was introduced a few years ago. The thing with the Karma was that it did not have the integrated sampling, so it was a workstation that was limited with its own internal sounds. Still a very useful workstation. Now let's talk a little bit about what Karma technology is. Karma was introduced originally in the Karma workstation, and it allows you to generate patterns real time, and it's not preset patterns that play back like in a lot of music workstations or arrangers. These patterns are actually generated with musical algorithms that you can adjust the parameters of in real time. Another cool feature of this is the ability to set up various scenes of the same Karma patterns. So you may have one pattern that has 8 different scenes with 8 different parameter sets, and by the way, there's over 400 parameters for each Karma phrase or pattern. So you might adjust some of the parameters of this to totally change the way the parameter sounds. You may mute out certain tracks, you may overemphasize the complexity of certain patterns, you may change some of the MIDI data that's being controlled for a drum pattern and it make the drum pattern sound totally different. So it's very useful, and also you can record these changes. Another new feature in the M3 is the velocity touchpads that we see here, 1 through 8, and these can be set up to trigger many different things in the M3, and we'll get into that in later videos. But one thing that makes it very useful is the ability to trigger chords, and this does allow the M3 to dip over a little bit into more of the arranger class, because the ability to work with chords in a workstation, especially a pro class workstation, has been somewhat limited until now. So not only do you have all these features, you have all the preceding features that you did see in a lot of other Korg workstations, and this was the ability to create sounds or programs and adjust these. Have many different presets. You can also create user ones. You can also save these. You also have the ability to create combis, which in some workstations may call these performances, where you would take the sounds or programs and layer these up to 8 of these, and create splits and layers for performance. You may have some pianos layered with some strings, you may have some bass sounds in this area, and then over here in the right hand section you may have a lead sound. So that's a very common feature you see in a lot of workstations. And of course, one of the most important features is the open sampling that's available in a lot of the Korg workstations, from the Korg Studio and the Korg Triton Extreme, where you can sample in many different modes. You can sample your performances, you can even resample some of your sequences or songs that you're working with, and of course manipulate that in many ways using a lot of utilities such as chopping and slicing and stretching, time stretching, reversing, so forth, applying different effects to create your own. Also, let's talk about one of the other features that the Korg M3 introduces, and this is the ability to swap out modules Right now the M3M module here is inside of a 61 key controller. We could actually swap this out with the Radius R, which is Korg's synthesizer module, and then we could play this keyboard as a synth. And if you had the 76 key or the 88 key version of the keyboard controller, you could actually have the M3 module and a Radius R module in tandem, so you'd have the power of both of those, greatly increasing your polyphony and also your sound capabilities if you had both of those. And of course you could have two M3 modules linked together, daisy chained, or you could have two Radius R modules. So it's a very useful feature to be able to swap those out. So in the next few videos we're going to break down some of the functionality and go into these by different modes one by one and explain very easily how to use the Korg M3 workstation to create your own professional sounds and songs.